Welcome to the Transforming Trauma podcast. Transforming Trauma is presented by the Complex Trauma Training Center. I'm your host, Emily Ruth, and I'm so glad you've joined us today. Licensed mental health professionals, we warmly invite you to join our Spring 2026 NARM Therapist Training, a live online immersion into the transformative power of the neuroaffective relational model. This advanced clinical training is designed specifically for those seeking to deepen their expertise in healing complex trauma while offering the accessibility of an online format. From January to August 2026, you'll be part of a supportive virtual community of learners integrating mindfulness and clinical expertise. Through 4 comprehensive modules, you'll gain specialized trauma-informed knowledge and skills to confidently and compassionately address the impacts of adverse childhood experiences and complex trauma. Together, we'll explore how to support the resolution of attachment, developmental, relational, cultural, and intergenerational trauma using a neurobiologically informed approach that promotes post-traumatic growth. Embodying professional and personal growth, you'll become a catalyst for transformation in your practice and community. Enrollment is now open for licensed psychotherapists, counselors, social workers, psychologists, and other mental health professionals, as well as graduate trainees and interns working toward licensure. Visit ComplexTraumaTrainingCenter.com to learn more and secure your spot in this online training opportunity. And now for our interview. Lawrence C. Harris is a nationally recognized youth empowerment speaker who helps teens and young adults break limiting beliefs, build unshakable self-worth, and rise above challenges. Drawing from his own lived experience overcoming childhood abuse, autism, and CPTSD, Lawrence shares powerful messages that resonate deeply with young people and the adults who support them. Throughout his career, he has impacted thousands through keynote speeches, workshops, books, and virtual events. Please enjoy my conversation with Lawrence Chrystopher Harris. All right, I'm sitting here with Lawrence C. Harris. Welcome to Transforming Trauma.
Thank you. It's fantastic to be here, and I know this is definitely going to help somebody.
Awesome. Oh, I love that energy you're bringing. Before we even pressed record, we were just chatting a little bit, and I'm just really excited for this conversation. And I'd love to begin first by asking you what you would like our listeners to get out of our interview today.
I would like them to get that no matter where you come from and what places you've been mentally, it can get better. As cheesy and cliche as that statement is, it really does get better if we give ourselves the opportunity for it to get better. And that can be a challenging process, but it's worth the effort.
Okay, I love that. What an invitation to hold life and hold the complexity and the challenges in that way. So fantastic. Well, Lawrence, would you mind telling us just a little bit about who you are, where in the world you are, the work that you're doing, all that good stuff?
There's a lot I could say.
Let's start with who you are, where you are.
Who I am, where I am, what I do. Well, obviously, my name is Lawrence. And as of the recording of this, I'm 19 years old. I'm a youth empowerment speaker. And for the last 4 years, I've helped teens and young adults build self-love, confidence, and a positive outlook on life. And this all started because in my home city of Philadelphia, where I currently am and am from, I wanted to help people to not feel how I felt when I was a kid. I wanted to help them feel seen and like they matter. So I started making YouTube videos and TikToks, and here where it led me.
Yeah. You wanted people to feel that they matter. It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
And so you're in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Born and raised, and you're doing this work. I'm curious, in your local area, what you've done. Sounds like you've done some speaking, but can you speak to that a little bit more?
In my local area, the most recent things I've done have been, I did a speech for a summer camp that I was a counselor at 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I was a camper there 10 years ago and became a counselor and then stayed in contact with the people who run it. And they said, Lawrence, we would love to have you come back and inspire them and teach them what you wish you knew when you were their age. So that was a beautiful full circle moment. Done a couple speeches for churches in my city. I've done just like some local things where I'll host an event inside of my office building and I'll allow people to just come in, buy tickets, and that's how I managed to afford the bill for this place. Mm-hmm. And pop-up vending events, I used to go out and sell my books on the streets. So those have been the main local things I've done that come to my head immediately.
I love the creativity. I love there's a little bit of scrappiness there, but also you're very professional.
Yeah.
So that's so fantastic. I wonder if you could tell us, what would you be open to sharing with us about how you grew up? Because you mentioned you didn't feel maybe that belonging or, feeling like you mattered. What can you share about your earlier life?
There's many things. So up until the age of 11, I didn't have friends because anyone who's listening to this, once I say it and you know the signs of it, you're going to be able to immediately tell. I have autism. So growing up, because of I'm on the quote-unquote higher functioning side of it, most people don't know what that looks like. They would think, especially as children, I would get ostracized a lot because people thought, oh, he's just really weird and he likes talking about stuff no one else cares about, and the way I dress and how I talk and how my hair is and all these things about me. I grew up constantly getting shamed for being me. And that led to trying to be what the world wanted rather than just being myself. So I would pretend to like sports. I would pretend to like dressing how people around me wanted to. I would pretend to be someone I wasn't to just try and feel like I mattered. Then when I was 12 years old, my dad became abusive to me and my younger siblings. And being the oldest, I naturally found myself in this like protector role of wanting to make sure they're safe, even at the cost of my own mental and physical well-being, which led me to this point of just, I describe it as feeling as if you're in a shower made of molten lead, but you have no skin. Mm. And thankfully, my mom got me and my younger siblings into therapy and life got better. We got out of his house and now we full-time stay with my mom. Had to cut off a lot of family members because for some of them, it wasn't even that they did anything or that they weren't there for me. It was they just refused to listen to my side of the story because they think you're just some dramatic kid, when I, in fact, was not just a dramatic kid. I was a kid who was in severe need of mental support. And through all of that, it was what really inspired me to not only begin helping other people, because every time I would make some progress in my life, the first thing I wanted to do was give it to somebody else. I wanted to take what I figured out, what I was able to overcome, and just for free, give that to people. Like I was telling people exactly step by step what to do to no longer feel these constant panic attacks. And I'm actually in the process of writing a book where I detail everything, where I detail the most painful, gut-wrenching stuff, the feelings that nothing will ever get better, and ultimately how I was able to get better, the messy process, the stuff I was ashamed to admit most of my life, just going everything.
Yeah. Gosh, Lawrence, I mean, there's so much that you're saying here that I know folks are going to resonate with, because while I know your experience is unique in some ways that you named, the neurodivergent, you're experiencing autism, but like this is a universal experience that so many people have felt, this lack of belonging. And I can't remember what your words were exactly, how you described it, but this sense that people didn't see you. They didn't really see who you were. And your heartful way of
wanting to share your belonging with others and like share with them, it gets better. I'm just really appreciating your heartfulness in this moment. It's really beautiful.
It's kind of something you just brought up with that desire to give others that sense of belonging. Yeah. It's a little hard to explain this, but I can kind of just see when people don't have it. Like even a complete stranger walking down the street, it's like the smallest things in their body language, the tonality of their voice, the way they walk, the position of their head, like all of this, I can just see it on people that a lot of people don't feel that they belong because they were never celebrated, rewarded, or shown that they matter, not what they do, not how they are to other people, but they matter for their unique quirks. Like, I don't just wear suits because they look professional. I just really like wearing suits.
I love it.
Like, I've gone to the gym wearing suits. I've gone for runs wearing suits. I just really like wearing suits. And that was something that when I first started doing it, people thought was really strange about me. They're like, what is that guy doing? But once you learn to love yourself for who you are, all the weird, strange things about you, all the good things, all the bad things, once you fall in love with you, you realize that that's one of the best feelings ever, and you want to give that to people.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I'm just appreciating, I guess in this moment, I'm just appreciating who you are. And I love that you're sharing with us this experience of feeling into love for yourself and appreciating who you are and some of what you called quirks. I love the quirkiness. So that's fantastic that you're able to kind of share your experience of that with folks.
Thank you.
So I'm curious, in the work that you're doing, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the work you're doing, because I know you've done some speaking, and maybe you can speak a little bit more to that work and the book that you're writing.
Yeah. So is there like a specific area of it? Because there's so many different ways I can take the statement, the work that I do. Yeah.
Well, what would you say you spend a majority of your time doing in this broader sense of what it is you do? What do you spend a majority of your time?
I would say I spend the majority of my time asking myself questions about how did I do it? Like, because little bit of context, 12-year-old Lawrence was incredibly like panicking 24/7. I couldn't really tell what was real and what wasn't because I was so on edge that I was like, just the best way to describe this is I was so on edge that nothing seemed real. It's like the world was a blur to me. And somehow I managed to go from that to this. So I would say I spend the majority of my time asking, how did I pull all of that off? Then asking other people about their experiences, because especially as I began to grow in my career, as I became more recognizable around my city, sometimes people just tell me about their life. Like they'll tell me things about when they used to have an addiction and how they overcame it, and I'll also seek out those questions. Like I'll go find books written by people who used to be drug addicts on the subject of overcoming addiction. Because I only know my perspective from first person. Once I hear other people's, it helps me to better resonate with more experiences that other people have but are a bit afraid to share.
Yeah.
But other than asking myself questions and asking other people questions, I do spend a very large amount of time sending emails as
Okay.
unrelated as it may seem to the work I do. It's that back end work of sending emails and working on blog posts and websites and YouTube thumbnails and all those
Yeah.
little things that add up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, can I reflect back kind of what I'm hearing you say
Sure.
here that feels really important, especially in the model that I'm trained in is NARM, and you're naming some really important principles here. So I'm hearing a lot of curiosity in your story. You're getting curious about yourself. You're getting curious about other people and their experiences and their viewpoint and where they are, their location in the world. I'm hearing curiosity. I'm hearing let's see, what is the other thing that you named? Agency. I'm really hearing you're acting on, you're taking in this information and then you're acting on it. You're taking action to further yourself in these ways. So those are two things I'm hearing. How does that land for you? Does that feel
lands
true?
Perfectly.
Okay.
Because it's challenging work, but it's very rewarding.
Yeah. And then the last thing I heard you say, or one of the things I heard you say, is like you're reaching for this connection. So you're trying to reach for people and share, what you have to share with others. And then also you're writing emails, like you're reaching out in the world and making connections, which all three of those things feel really, really important to me.
Yeah. It's people, especially recently in my life, when they see me and they're like, man, how in the world did you do all this so young? I started young. For better or worse, I was kind of thrust into all this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you speak a little bit more about that? You said you're thrust into it, but I still am curious about what part of you chose to like move into this, this way of being in your life. But how young were you?
Well, when I first began making like YouTube videos, I was like 15, but it was just like really generic. Well, it was good for a 15-year-old. Okay, it was
Sure.
good for a 15-year-old, but it was nowhere near as good as what I do now. It was just like clips of me giving like motivational advice when I felt bad about myself. The thought was, it's like positive affirmations. If you say it out loud enough, sooner or later, you'll start to believe it. And I would make these clips on my Instagram and YouTube and TikTok of me just giving motivational advice, of me trying to make myself feel better by also making other people feel better in the process. And as time went on and I started to see things like, I've met other motivational speakers when I was younger. I've seen things like, the classic people like Tony Robbins and the Les Browns and people like Alan Watts. He was one that I really related to. Because he would explain things in a way I never imagined. And it was this like calling in me that all of this stuff all the things I went through aren't just meant for me to have dealt with. And thankfully, I was fortunate enough to have resources like therapy, and I knew the right questions to ask on YouTube and things like that. But most people don't have those resources. So I tried to, and this took years for me to like pull off, but once it hit me, it was like the lightning spark that is the underlying of everything I teach. Journaling, exercise, and going outside. In combination, those will allow you to better understand yourself, your patterns. It'll teach you about how do you handle money, how do you handle relationships, how do you handle time management, what emotional triggers come up, etc., etc. Exercise. That can be swimming, yoga, weightlifting, push-ups, literally anything that gets your body moving. Sometimes you get so mad or so sad or frustrated, or you're just in like a brain fog and you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to journal. You don't want to call someone. Go pick up some weights. Go to a boxing gym. Run, swim, do anything to get your body moving. Because exercise creates the chemicals in your brain that to put it simply, make you happy, make you excited, help you to fall in love, weirdly enough, and give you a good reward. It also has the benefit of like more confidence, and people can say what they want, but I believe that when we like what we see in the mirror, we are more likely to enjoy ourselves as a person. So there's like an underlying confidence there. There's so many benefits to it. It also helps with like, obviously your physical health, of course. You'll have an increased chance of living longer. You will have a reduced chance of certain physical conditions. And if you happen to have autism or ADHD or anything like that, it helps to get your brain in a more normal state of being. And going outside, if you are trapped inside of a room all day, like you're in a box, you go to work in a car, which is a metal box. You go work inside of a building, which is just a really big box, and you're not getting enough sunlight, you will start to feel more sad. You'll start to be more easily agitated. You're not getting fresh air. You're not seeing a cloud. You're not seeing the birds chirp. You're not seeing the trees. And when you put these three things together, you have a mental, physical, spiritual triangle that is the underlying of so many things. And for the low, low price of a gym membership, a pair of running shoes, a pen and paper, and a safe enough environment that you can go outside. Of course, if you live in like Alaska, that's going to be different. But assuming you don't live in an active war zone or in an area that is filled with dangerous animals, for about, I did the math on it, it's about $120 a year if you get a Planet Fitness membership. You can have the underlying aspects of what I did to improve my mental health.
I love what you're saying here. I mean, I want to just highlight this piece you said about even just getting out in nature, getting outside, moving our bodies, put your feet on some grass or, walk around the block, lay under a tree, something like that. Like that really lands for me. And I know there's going to be folks listening that we're all appreciating the nudge, the reminder to get outside, move our bodies, get in some nature and make some connections. I'm really hearing a piece around that. And then also the writing.
Yeah.
So how important that is, this self-introspection. And tell me, can you say more about the journaling? Are there certain, things that you appreciate asking yourself or questions that you encourage folks to consider?
Well, me personally, when I journal, I typically do it around the same time every day before I go to bed and right when I wake up. And there's no particular question that I tell people to ask themselves per se. It's just, if you do it for a long enough amount of time, the same thing will keep coming up. And the goal isn't per se to, figure out the meaning of life. It's simply to figure out, why do you do what you do? Why do you say what you say? Why do you think what you think? Because once you know, now you know what to do. Like, okay. One that used to come up for me all the time was this feeling of insecurity about how I looked. Like, I used to be a really skinny kid when I was younger. And I would journal about, well, why do I feel this way? Why do I think this? And the answer was, it's because you got bullied when you were a kid. And, initially, you're going to be like, no, that can't be the reason. No, that's not it. We want to kind of run from the truth. And if somebody says to you that, the reason you feel this way is you got bullied as a kid, you'll get mad at them. You'll start feeling offended. But the journal does not have an opinion of you. It's just there. It's just present. And after a certain point too, the benefits of journaling are exponential. So you're able to take all the information that you've learned about yourself and look at the world in such a different way. Because, actually, that just gave me a great idea. one prompt I want people to ask themselves is, what is my biggest pet peeve and what ways do I have that? Because the thing about other people that annoys you the most is often a reflection of what you don't want to acknowledge about yourself. So if you think other people are always gossiping, other people are rude, they're disrespectful, they have bad breath, they are doing something, right? Okay, now ask yourself honestly, when's the last time you gossiped? Because if your biggest pet peeve is other people gossiping, it's quite likely that you yourself gossip often. If your biggest pet peeve is other people having bad breath, smell your own breath. Because it's really easy to point the finger at other people rather than acknowledge, wait, my breath stinks too. And once you are honest with yourself and you notice the ways that you are projecting your insecurities and your feelings onto other people, it becomes hard to get mad at them. Like, it's really hard for me to get mad at people, which is strange because I'm 19. You'd expect I get mad at people all the time. But it's hard to because through journaling, I've become so self-aware that I know that they don't know why they do what they do. I know that when I feel mad at somebody, I'm not actually getting mad at them. I'm getting mad at something that they did, and what they do is separate from who they are. So I'm mad at your action, but I'm not mad at you.
Yeah.
And it's a little hard to wrap my head around sometimes, but journaling will not only help you become more aware of your emotions and your behavior patterns, but another way it's helped me a lot is when it comes to self-love. So it's a pretty generic statement for people to say, oh, love yourself, believe in yourself, you can do it. All great advice. But you need to know who you are in order for you to love yourself. You need to know what you want in order to believe in yourself. And you need to have the awareness that you can in order to believe you can. Now, in the process of, learning about yourself, we all want to know the good stuff. But in order to know that, you also have to become aware of the bad stuff. Like, you have to become aware that maybe you are impulsive. Maybe you get mad easily. Maybe you are holding on to anger towards people who you haven't seen in 15 years. Maybe you need to forgive people who are actually dead. Maybe you need, journaling will make you aware of yourself. And you have to accept all of it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Go ahead, finish what you were saying.
I was going to just say that you have to be aware that we all have the capacity to be great human beings, but you also have this quote unquote dark side to you, like the side of you that thinks about swerving in traffic, the side of you that is has violent tendencies, the side of you that you suppress to look good to other people. We all have it.
Yeah,
but
it's got a shadow.
You have to be aware of. Oh, you were saying it's called shadow work?
Yes, some folks might call it that, but I think you called it something else. That's okay.
Yeah, it's you have to integrate that, because if you aren't aware of your own dark side, it will find ways to come out of you. Yeah. And it will often come out of you in ways that are actually self-destructive. Some people start punching walls because they didn't integrate their anger into a healthy manner, such as, again, exercise, journaling, exercise, and going outside. I have spent so many years thinking about this concept And I have not found a single thing better than those three in conjunction that is low cost and does not require access to medical services.
So this is what a lot you speak to the youth about.
Yes.
Moving their bodies, writing, journaling, getting outside.
Yes, it's so easy and so simple to do that most of them hear it and they're like, there's no way it could be that easy. And I'm like, it is. Like it's going to be hard at first, like to focus, which again is another thing journaling benefits. Okay. It helps you to focus.
Yeah.
And they'll think like, no, but I had to do like this meditation technique I saw on TikTok and I had to, write down my goal 50 times and say it into a mirror and do this and do that. And I'm like, no, you just have to figure out who you are. And that's hard to do, but once you figure it out and you figure out what that unique quirk in you is, and then you take that to the world and to the marketplace, you can not only make a good life for yourself, but you'll make a good life for those around you because they're not enjoying and loving what you pretend to be or what you act like. They're loving what you are. And if they don't like you, which many people won't, they don't like the idea of you. It's that instead, now they don't like what you truly are. But the people who like you like what you truly are.
Yeah, there's so many things you're saying that I'm really appreciating. I appreciate the simplicity of what you're inviting us to do. You're inviting us to move our bodies, to get out in nature, to have some of this self-introspection, writing it down, journaling, this integrating of the shadow. It's like, it's simple. It's not always easy, I think you said.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard, but to keep it simple in that way is a really beautiful invitation. I wonder if you could share, because you talked about when you were younger, and I know there was abuse that happened. I wonder, what was it that sort of supported you to move in this kind of direction? Because there's lots of things you could have chosen to do, and it sounds like you didn't, at least not from what you've said so far. But I'm curious about what kind of supported you to move in this direction, and also to be kind of an example for your younger siblings.
Well, as far as what supported me in the direction, it was my therapist, my mom, friends. And keep in mind, back then, I was a very hard person to be around. Like, I was very difficult to be around because I didn't trust people, which makes sense, because when you have trust issues with a parent, it makes it very hard to have trust with people.
Yeah.
But, that does not excuse how Lawrence used to act. It's just, that was the reason. Then, with people being around me and them somehow managing to tolerate me, because keep in mind, I was arguing with people, I was disrespecting people, I was just taking my anger out on everyone because I didn't know how to not do that. And then, seeing my younger siblings, I just didn't want them to go to the point I was at, like to feel as hopeless and worthless as I was feeling. So when I was 15, I looked in my bathroom mirror and I was just thinking to myself, like, why? What led me here? What is it that has gotten me this low? And, the answers came. Oh, Lawrence, it's because you keep holding on to all your anger. It's because part of you doesn't want to let go of the past. Part of you finds this weird comfort in victimhood. Part of you likes being able to complain. And that was one of those, shadow moments where I had to accept the truth. The truth was that I was just finding this comfort there. even though I knew how bad it was to be in like this constant victim mindset, I found comfort in it. Because when you have a pity party coming every 5 minutes, there's a sense of being seen, even if it's for the wrong reasons. But as time went on, I became aware that, Lawrence, there's going to come a day when you're 45 years old. And at the time, my dad was 45. Do you want to be like him? Is that what you want your legacy to be? Like, okay, yes, stuff happened to you, but do you want to be what happened to you? Or do you want to be an example that no matter what happened, you can become something different and better? And having my younger siblings made me realize, like, I have people who are looking up to me. You know, I have people who, my younger sister, she's 5 years younger than me, and so is my little brother. I have people looking up to me. I have people to set an example for. And now, because I did, and they were seeing me, you know, getting better day by day, it helped them to also do the same. And now, you know, they have a big brother who is a speaker who specifically focuses on helping people improve their mental health. And I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. But I'm a lot better than I used to be.
Yeah, again, I'm just appreciating kind of you naming this journey that you've taken to go from a space where you, I think the word you used was victimhood, feeling like and there was legitimate abuse. It sounds like there was a lot of really challenging things. I'm curious, do you have a sense of when that when that shift happened for you? Like, how old were you when you started saying, do I want to be like this person, or do I want to choose my own path?
It was at 15. Like, it was
Wow.
that was a very jam-packed year of my life.
Yeah.
Because when I was 13, I was no longer at his house, but my younger siblings would still have to go there. The reason why I was no longer there, and they had to, was it was a shared custody agreement. And for those of you who have never been, like, through the actual civil court system, it takes a ridiculously long time. Bear in mind, when we had this case going, we presented photo evidence, text message evidence, video evidence from a school building. We had therapist reports. Every single piece of evidence you could think of, we had. It took 2 years for that case to get handled. With CPS involved, with every piece of evidence you could think of. It took that long. But fortunately, or strangely unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, when I was 13, he disowned me in front of a church and told my mom, take him, he's your problem now. And that was the last time we ever spoke in person. But because of a shared custody agreement that was set up years and years and years prior to all of this, my younger siblings still had to go over there. And when I believe it would have happened later that same year, my mom was simply trying to, have the court tell him, like, hey, get them back out of his custody, not in a vindictive way that people, try and stereotype it, but in a, you guys know what's going on, somebody do something.
Trying to protect everybody, right?
Yeah, we're not even trying to put like criminal charges or anything. It's none of that. It's purely get them out of his house. That's all we want. We don't want cops showing up. We don't want handcuffs. We don't want none of that. We just want get them out. And he just simply gave up his rights in court. Like nobody told him to. Nobody asked him to. We simply said, like, can you just stop beating your kids? That's all we want. Wow. Can we just get that handled? We don't know what you're going through. Maybe you have some like unhealed thing you need to deal with, and then you'll be better. But I'm done giving him chances. We were all done giving him chances. He just gave over his rights in court. And then a year later, the case actually got finished, which is crazy to me.
That it takes that long.
Yeah. And this is why, like, a big thing that fuels me to do what I do is I've seen firsthand how the court system is nothing like Law and Order and CSI makes it out to be. There are people who the court system knows for an undeniable fact are in abusive households, they're getting molested, they're going through all this crazy stuff. And then people are shocked when those kids go on to hurt themselves or hurt somebody. Mm-hmm. But nobody ever asks, well, why? Oh, because this was happening. How long was it happening? 2 years. Did nobody do anything? No, we called the cops. We did this, we did that. Well, what happened? The court was dragging their feet. And then you're like, well, no wonder why the suicide rate is 1 every 43 seconds.
Yeah.
No wonder it's so high.
You had the awareness of this broken system.
Yeah,
and
because I've seen it.
Yeah, because you've seen it and you've lived it. And what I'm hearing is, again, this principle of agency that you really took your life in your own hands at 15 and said, I'm going to do this differently. I'm not going to live like
had to.
Yeah.
It was like,
I mean,
at a crossroad.
I don't know that you had to, but you chose to, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, it was definitely a choice because I made a choice to go down the path that would lead me here. But I saw what was on the other side, on the other path. Yeah. I saw, okay, Lawrence, if we extend what we're doing out to 5 years, like 5 years from now, where are we going to be if we stay on this train? Very far. It was I can't remember where I heard it, but around that time in my life, I saw a YouTube video where it was like a motivational video or something, and they said, if you're on the wrong train, get off, because the longer you're on it, the more expensive the trip back is going to be.
I love that.
And at the time, it didn't really click, but eventually it did, and I started realizing that, okay, I'm on the wrong train. I'm on the train that keeps going down. If I stay on this train, I'm going to have to hike all the way back up just to become normal. Not to become happy. Just to be normal, I'm going to have to go all the way back up. So let me get off of this and become obsessive about getting better. Because now my siblings are no longer there. I'm no longer there. So I don't have like the physical danger present. And I just have to work on the psychological and mental aspects, and then we'll be good.
Yeah.
And it was very hard, very challenging, but it all comes back to journaling, exercise, and going outside.
Yeah. I'm curious, is there anything, if there's anyone listening that maybe they have a child in their life who they love, they care about, who they know is experiencing this kind of trauma, or maybe it's a young person themselves. What might you say to them in terms of kind of, looking forward? What could this look like? What could life look like going forward?
I would say to them, and this is something I was thinking about earlier, what I would say to my younger self if I could time travel back and tell them one thing, it would be, imagine different possibilities. Use your imagination, because especially if you're a young person dealing with this, and you're going to have this sensation of powerlessness, regardless of who's doing this to you. But if it's specifically a parent, there's going to be part of you that's like, but this is my mom, this is my dad, this is my uncle, my grandma, my grandpa, whoever. There's going to be that part of you that wants to see them as your parent, which they are, but you have to understand that someone being biologically related to you and someone being your family are very different things. And when it feels like you can't do anything, when it feels like there's no hope, you need to use your imagination. You need to imagine in vivid detail, as vividly as possible, your life being better. How? Don't worry about that. When? Don't worry about that. Just picture in your head your life being better, whatever that means to you. It could be living in a new house, living in a safe area, not getting beat on, being confident, being proud of yourself, being a rock superstar. Just imagine in your head, because your brain and you are different things. So you have your conscious mind, which is like your thinking mind. Then you have your subconscious, which is like this giant library of information. Your subconscious takes in everything you say, think, imagine, do, don't think. Like, your subconscious takes in everything. And your imagination goes right into your subconscious. The more you think it, the more it goes in there. And the more good thoughts we put in there, the more thoughts of life will be better. I can get through this. I'm strong enough. I'm confident. I'm worthy. I'm lovable. And you start listening to music that talks about that, like Be Yourself by Audioslave is one, Mirror by Lil Wayne. I'm trying to think of some other good ones. Love Yours by J. Cole, Crooked Smile is another one. There's so many. The goal is you want to imagine your life being better. And your brain will start to create the feelings of your life being better. And eventually, somehow, some way, through the weird laws of how the universe works, your life will become better. And it's not going to make sense logically, but it works.
I love so much that you're saying here. I mean, one thing that I'm taking in is I love that you kind of said, don't worry about how or when. Like, we as humans, I'll speak for myself. I make things too complex sometimes. And I think in order to like have this thought of, oh, I need to make a plan and I need to know how and I need to know when, and I make it too complex. And then before I know it, I've taken that idea out of my head completely because I've ruled it out, because I've told myself it can't happen. And I love this invitation you're bringing of like, don't even worry about the how and the when. Just start thinking these thoughts and be creative and use your imagination. So I'm going to take that invitation.
Because what you just mentioned there is like this, how sometimes we overcomplicate it in our heads because we want to know every single step, every single detail. But when you imagine yourself in third-person perspective, in your head, living a better life, you start to see that I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know where, but I know what I want. I know what I am moving towards. And you can take these little action steps every day to move forward to it, such as clean your room. Because a messy environment mentally will manifest itself physically. You want to keep a clean room. You want to make your bed. You want to brush your teeth. Because you don't have to look like what you're going through. You know, it was a lot of times when I could go, where I would find myself going a week or two without brushing my teeth. And somehow, miraculously, I did not lose any of them. But you want to do everything you can to keep yourself stable. You want to have a good, clean environment. You want to take care of your hygiene. And view it not as a chore, not as just maintenance, but view it as winning. Because it's those little things that, it's like moving a mountain. And once you realize, wait, I can move this mountain. Let me do another thing. Let me do another thing and another thing. And you do all these little tiny things and they start adding up and they start compounding. And eventually there comes a point when you're able to get out that situation.
Yeah.
And it's possible.
Yeah.
I'm an example that it's possible.
Yeah.
You can find hundreds, thousands, millions of examples that it's possible. And you can be another one of them. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You're just trying to be happy again.
Yeah. Lawrence, there's so many things here that you're saying that are just really important. I'm hearing this idea, this concept of like one small thing at a time.
Yeah.
Making your bed, keeping your space tidy. These all kind of give ourselves messages of kind of what we deserve. I think is how I'm interpreting it, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's landing for me. And then also, I'm really just appreciating the way that you're understanding, like that it's not that this is always easy. It can be really hard. Again, I'm just thinking of your story and what you've shared. I know you haven't told a whole lot about your story, but that there's going to be hard times and maybe there's weeks that we don't take care of ourselves. I'm curious for you, what would help you kind of get back on the bandwagon after maybe a time or a space of not taking care of yourself? Was there anything that sort of supported you in kind of getting back on that track?
The first thing that I would do is, as strange as it's going to sound, is you just kind of throw yourself out the bed. Like it sounds strange, but it works.
Okay.
When you're going to have moments when you'll find yourself spending 8-10 hours in bed. Like you'll be awake and you will wait until the absolute last second to get up and do stuff because you just don't want to. It's like your bed becomes your safe place.
Yeah.
And getting out of it feels dangerous. It's like your brain processes it as genuine danger. Mm-hmm. And you kind of have to just throw yourself. It's like you count down from 3, you put your hands like on something like solid, like your bed frame or your wall, and you just throw yourself out of bed. Okay. And your body will catch you. Like it will catch you from slamming into the floor. And now you're out of bed.
Okay.
And now the hard part's over. Once you get the ball moving, it's easier to keep it moving. You're like, okay, now I'm out of bed. Let me move the sheet. Let me move the cover. Let me move the pillow. Then I'm going to turn around. I'm going to go to the bathroom. And I'm going to use the bathroom and brush my teeth and do everything I need to do. And you just tell yourself, okay, the hard part is starting. If I just keep moving, eventually I'll get to where I want to be. And then also, keeping a physical record. That's another thing journaling helped with. You now have a physical record that I can do something on a consistent basis. I can reach the goal. And you have these little wins throughout the day, such as making your bed, getting out of bed, putting on your clothes, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, going to school, getting home in one piece, writing down your goals for the day, journaling. And you had this physical record that years later you can look back on and say, what was I going through? How was I feeling? What was I thinking about myself? So to make this applicable, just figure out what are 3 things you want to do every day that will move you toward where you want to be. It could be as simple as make my bed, take a shower, brush my teeth. If I do those 3 things every day, I now won. I won the day. And then you can upgrade it to 4 things or 5 things, or you change the 3 things around. Now you're consistently able to make your bed, brush your teeth, take a shower without thinking about it. Okay, now how about I study for 15 minutes every day, I go to the gym, and I work on a skill. So you're like working on getting your degree or something. Okay, now you do all 3 things consistently, and you now instead of having 3 things each day that you're winning, you now have 6. Because the first 3, you don't even think about that anymore. And then these 3, you don't even think about that anymore. And you just like do this over and over and over and over. And it's like you have this giant track record that says, I can. How do I know I can? Because I do. I have this long list of things that I do every day without thinking about it. You don't think about breathing. You don't think about eating. You don't think about taking a shower. You just do it. So because I can do all of these things that at one point were super hard tasks, but now they're so easy I don't even think about it, of course I can do that harder thing. And after years, you'll be able to look back and go, wow.
Wow. Lawrence, I'm so inspired by you. I'm inspired by your story. I'm really appreciating your vulnerability and everything that you've shared with us today. And I wonder, to close, if you have any sort of final thoughts or anything that you wanted to share with our listeners before we close.
My final thought would be, you are not your feelings. Your feelings are how you feel. So I'm going to try to make this short because I made a 30-minute YouTube video on this earlier today, actually.
Which I'll go check out.
It's that, okay, so it is that right now you feel a certain way. So maybe you're feeling really bad about yourself. You're like, man, I can't do it. I feel bad about myself. I don't believe in myself. Okay, that's how you feel. You feel bad. But that does not mean you are bad. And when you make the separation between how I feel and what I am, and instead, when you catch yourself saying, I am bad feeling, catch yourself, stop it. I feel bad feeling. Mm-hmm. I am good feeling. Because whatever you say after I am, you're like defining yourself as that. Mm-hmm. Feelings change. What I am is what I am. So the final piece is just that be aware that how you feel does not define who and what you are. You feel angry, you are not angry. You feel bad, you are not bad. Feelings are temporary. Who you are is a much more solid thing, but it also can change if you decide to change it.
Mm-hmm. I love it. That's so rich. There's so much there. And we'll have to have you back. Maybe 5 years, we'll do a little check-in with Lawrence, see where you're at in 5 years.
I'm going to be like big.
I love it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot.
Will you come back and visit us in 5 years?
Sure.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you again, Lawrence. I just really appreciate what you've shared, your vulnerability and your story. And I know there's going to be a lot of folks who are going to be helped and supported by what you've shared with us today. And I wonder, where can people find you?
Yep, sorry about that. My office has automatic lights. So where people can find me, my Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok are all Lawrence C. Empowers. LAWRENCE C.EMPOWERS. Yes, empowers.
Awesome. I love
my website, lawrenceharris.com. That's mainly for like event planners, anybody who intends to bring me in for podcast bookings or speaking engagements, and you want to, do a bit more professional research on me. That's what that's for. Okay. And if you just want to reach out to me directly, whether that be you have a summer camp, you have a high school, college, somebody who does, the principal, that helps a lot. My email address, lawrence@lawrencecharris.com. You can also just Google Lawrence C. Harris and everything comes up. So does my books on Amazon. When I put them up there, you'll be able to find me there on Amazon. My most recent one was called Power to the People. I wrote that last year. It mainly goes over everything I talked about today. How improving your mental, physical, and then through understanding your mental patterns, you also get to improve your finances because you understand the pattern of how your emotions and thoughts influence your money. Okay. So that's all the places you guys can find me.
That you are findable, sir. We are going to find you. Folks are going to, I'm sure, track you down. And I really appreciate you again. Thanks for spending the time with us.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks so much for joining us for today's episode. To find more information about our guest, check the show notes or visit us at complextraumatrainingcenter.com/transforming trauma. You can also connect with us in other ways. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. As a mental health professional, your commitment to healing and growth inspires us. We at the Complex Trauma Training Center are committed to supporting you in your well-being and success. That's why we are honored to invite you to our Space Program 2026, an inner development program of support and self-discovery for therapists on the personal, interpersonal, and transpersonal levels. Running over 6 online sessions in 2026, this interactive experiential learning program is designed to support self-care and self-discovery for therapists exploring internally, relationally, and transpersonally. CTTC faculty will welcome you into a professional community of therapists that are seeking to create greater effectiveness and resilience in our professional lives. As CTTC faculty Brad Kammer says, the intent is that this program will help us not only become more effective therapists, but also love our work more. Please visit complextraumatrainingcenter.com and secure your spot in the 2026 Space Program. Thanks to Rig for producing and editing, to Tori Essex for our album art, and to Brad Kammer for the creation of this podcast. We look forward to building community and connection with you and changing the world by transforming trauma.